will of God. I do not know much about it, but this I know, that largely what we refer to as the will of God is necessarily not it. A while back, I saw on the street of Twitter, somebody was saying how the US sanction creating a ban on flights from Nigeria to the US affected his or her plan. I can't really say about the gender, but the person applied for a postgraduate studies which has been postponed due to the sanctions. And you and I both know why the sanction was put in the first place, and it has nothing to do with the will of God. But then, along the line, this person would think as though it was the will of God for him, for his or her studies to have been postponed. Which reminded me of one of my lecturers during my sophomore years in school, offering Maths 206. So he was sharing with us how faith has decided to keep him within the borders. He had the opportunity to go overseas, but this is what happened. The case of the Ogoni 9, Ken Saro-Wiwa and 8 others. Yes, that they were executed, that led to another US sanction. And that was what stopped him from going overseas. So there he was sharing his story of how faith had a role in him remaining within the country. And there was I behind the class, and I was thinking, but this had nothing to do with faith. Some people somewhere took upon themselves certain decisions, and the ripple effect is what has thwarted his plan of going overseas. So what then is the will of God? Because my own bone of contention is not even in sharing with you the will of God. It is to those who would share their own story, and everything would seem as though the hardship that I'm going through now, as though it was the will of God for me to learn a lesson. There was a meme that said, let in the process of you not learning a lesson, you eventually die. In Jeremiah 29 verse 11, the word of God is telling us that the plan he has for our lives are for welfare and not for evil, to give us a future and a hope. So my question is it the same person? Was it his plan for the Israelites to spend 40 solid good years in the exodus from Egypt to Canaan? Or was it because of something they did? Because there is a clear distinction between what was the will of God and what was a cause effect from our own decisions. Look at this picture. And here is another one. Now, between these two photos are 10 years apart. And they are all photos of me. And looking back now, yesterday, I had this Facebook reminder of memories, and that was where the first image popped up. And then it made me realize that in this journey, in my academic pursuit, it took me 10 good years in a pursuit of a degree. 10. That was between the first photo and the second. Was that the will of God for me? This long route that I took, was it necessary into becoming who I am, or is this just me making do with what I have? I saw a clip of an apologetic sitting, and then a kid was asking one of the speakers if God actually needed a lie or needs a lie to actually fulfill purpose. And then he was citing the case of Rahab, how she let off the 2 spies from her own window, and when the citizens of Jericho came to her door, and then they asked her, she lied. And then the kid was asking, did God actually needed that lie? So the speaker replied him saying, God already knows what he wanted. He didn't needed that lie. The lie was on Rahab herself, not because God needed it. Because even if she has said the 2 spies were inside, God would still have found a way to achieve purpose. He would still have found a way to achieve purpose. He still will have found a way to make me who I am without necessarily me taking 10 good years. He still will have found a way to move them from Egypt to Canaan without the 40 years. So, yes, while whilst sharing our story, it is important for us to highlight the decisions that we made that make us take the path that we are on. As Robert Frost would say, two roads diverged north, and he took the one less traveled. The question is, we don't get to know or to be told why Robert took the one less traveled. Because we all now are all chasing the one less traveled. But why? The question is why. So whilst sharing your story, tell us what decisions you made, what choices you took upon yourself that fixed you on the route that you're on, making do with what you have. Yes, God will still use this route to achieve purpose, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that was the only way that was meant for you. Share with me in the comment section what you think, and don't forget to like and follow.